All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebony again, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style, and today we have Miss Taylor with us. How are you, Taylor?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share jewels
No
with us.
problem.
You guys, she is full of wisdom and exciting stuff to share. So if you stick around to the end, you will have an opportunity to earn a complimentary gift. So stick around to the end and let's see what Miss Taylor wants to share with us today.
All right.
So Taylor, start us off so we get to know you a little bit better and just share one motivational quote that really inspires you, something that encourages you and gets you going.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite quotes. It's actually plastered all over my social media. It's a hard quote to find because it is in like a college textbook. I did find it in college, but it's by a woman named Michelle Wright. She's an author, and its difference is rarely able to assert what it is. It must usually contend with what it is not. And I really resonate with that quote because as women, and in particular women of color, I think we experience adversity very early on in life. And I think the sooner you learn to accept and somewhat cherish your differences, the better you'll realize that you probably will always have to defend your differences, but other people will respect them. And the more you stay true to your differences, I think the better. And then the other quote I had, just to pay a little homage to Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace. One of my favorite quotes from him is start with something because a dream without a plan is just wishing. And that really resonates with me. I am a huge procrastinator. I think a lot of us are. And so the hardest part has always been just starting. I have all these great ideas and my head is just spinning, but unless I do something with them, it's just a wish. So those are my two favorite quotes.
Yeah, and that is so true. All of us, I think we've probably had dreams since we were 5 years old, but how many of them have we actually accomplished? Or even if we haven't accomplished them, how many of them have we put in some action steps toward it?
Exactly. And put into fruition, actually. Yeah. So.
Yes, yes. Talk a little bit about that. Talk about a time in your life where you didn't necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel and you had to overcome some obstacles, maybe fear got in the way, and you just didn't see where this was headed. But at the end of the day, you were able to bring that goal or that dream to fruition.
Yeah. So I think that everyone experiences the postgraduate blues. I actually was not expecting to experience them very early on in school, even in high school and college. I did very well. I had really cool jobs. They weren't typical jobs. And I think once I graduated, that kind of gave me a false sense of superiority, like, oh, this is going to be a walk in the park. And so I ended up moving to Atlanta, took the risk of moving to Atlanta, didn't have any jobs lined up. And it did not go that way. I could not find a job for almost a year. And so I fell into a really, really bad bout of depression. And, I'd never experienced it before. And so getting myself out of it was extremely, extremely hard. And that Nipsey Hussle quote is very motivational because you just have to start. And so what I decided to do was I decided to focus on my skill sets and completely forget about those that I did not have. It's very easy when you're stuck in a rut to sit there and say, well, I can't do this. I don't know how to run social media, or I can't spend 8 hours a day doing this, but just start somewhere. So I actually, in college, I used to do graphic design and photography, and I hadn't done it in a while. And I was just thinking like, all right, well, this is what you have. This is all you have to work with. Either you say you're not good at it, you're not good enough at it, or you take it. So I started off styling photos for people. I started freelancing my graphic design work, doing logos for people. And actually, I ran into this woman, and this woman, she is not anyone that I thought would be a part of my network. We're not even in the same age bracket. We're not from the same place. And I actually ended up investing my time and myself into her. So I decided to volunteer my free time to work at her pop-up shops for free whenever she needed me. She had a pop-up shop. So I worked those. I would do photography for her. I would style her photos. And she actually ended up being the woman who recommended me for the job that I'm at now. And I happened to run across her from a family friend, and taking the risk on someone who may not necessarily look like they can help you was one of the greatest decisions I've ever made. It's easy to look around and see people who are similar, who are already in your network, but stepping outside of that box, I never thought I would be in the position that I'm at today. And it was extremely hard, a year and a half of a lot of emotions, a lot of sadness, a lot of doubting myself. But starting immediately got rid of a small level of doubt that I had. Like, okay, I'm better than myself yesterday. I'm better than the self that was in that bed crying yesterday because I got up and decided to do something. I also had to end up doing jobs that I never thought I would take, that false sense of superiority again. I was babysitting. I couldn't stand kids. I was babysitting. I was waitressing. Never thought I would waitress, like all of these things. And it humbled me. And so a little bit of humility and hard work kind of brought me to where I am today. So I'm very proud of it, and it's helped a lot.
I think that's awesome what you share, because a lot of times we do fall into those situations where we're doing everything possible that we think should be allowing us to get a job or get whatever it is that we want in life. And it's like, why is this not working? What's wrong with me? And it's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, exactly.
As you said, sometimes it's just looking at what you are capable of. Just look at what skills and talents and things that you've done in the past and say, well, how can I utilize exactly what I own within me right now that I've already been successful at? Exactly. And creating opportunities for ourselves sometimes. The opportunities are not always there when we want them. So creating those opportunities is
rarely are they there when we want them.
Yeah. And I think that, there's so much connection these days with the online space and just networking groups in general, even in your local community. If you're not so, gung-ho about being online, that I feel like there's so many networking communities that you're able to use your gifts to the right people that need you. You just have to be willing to put yourself out there and offer it.
Exactly.
I don't necessarily want to do my own logos and graphic design and all that when my skill set is a different area. So I would be glad to pay you to do something that you probably feel is like, really? You're paying me for this? Because it comes natural to you.
Yeah, and it's working more efficiently as well. Like, don't dwell on what you can't do. Dole out those tasks.
Yes. Talk a little bit about support systems, because sometimes in order for us to actually take the action steps toward our goals, we need other people, and particularly other people that have our best interests at heart. So maybe talk a little bit about some challenges that you've had with seeking a support system, and maybe some encouragement for people that feel like, well, I don't have anybody on my side. What can I do to gain a stronger support system?
Yeah. So I think that, so my family in particular, they're full of creatives. However, we don't come from a line of a huge network. My brother, my mom, they've all had to work for their resources. And sometimes with our families, I think if they do have something to offer us, we tend to just focus on that, but don't also realize that they are still trying to get themselves together. So I think a family support system is good, but I think trying to find one outside of your family is actually beneficial, not only for the fact that you gain a different perspective, but also your family knows you in a different way than the rest of the world. And oftentimes, especially in business, that's not necessarily how we're presenting ourselves in the business world. And so networking and building a support system of those around you who know your business side more so than your personal side can actually help. And also, I'm a firm believer on the energy you put out is the energy you give in. So if you want to gain a support system, you have to be a support system. So like those people who you really see working hard and they're trying to start a business or they're a full-time mom, if there's anything you can offer them, whether that's your free time, whether that's some advice, some knowledge, anything that is beneficial to them, and in turn, I guarantee you they will not forget you. Also, investing in your community. A lot of the times when we're stuck in a rut, it's so self-related. Like, we cannot stop thinking about ourselves. Like, I got this going on and this is happening and this, and I got to do this. But doing some community service and giving back to others allows you to step outside of yourself and get a bigger picture of like what's really going on. And it really gives you a different perspective on the things that you actually really need in your life, not the things that you may think you need or the things that you see other people having. Those things aren't important. You really have to, like, when it's time to actually come back to self-reflect, your perspective is completely different. I preach community service like no other. I think it is everything. I think it is everything. I've done a lot of community service trips, and it has, in a weird way, it's taught me, I believe it's taught me more than what I learned in college. Meeting new people, and not just that, community service, especially if you volunteer locally, that's a free way to network. I know it doesn't seem like a natural, like, oh, community service networking, but no, like, that is a great way. You don't, everybody from different walks of life do community service, and you never know who you can come across. And also giving back, it's just, it makes you feel better about yourself, and helps others. And then also, in terms of support systems being online, like social media, I think what I would say to that is do your research on where you decide to network on social media. There are a lot of safe spaces for people to go and find other people with other similarities. You just have to make sure it's the right group for you, and make sure that, like, even when you're on, like, you find a Facebook group, scroll through the comments, scroll through the pictures. Like, if you're not into how people are talking to one another in there, if you're not into the content that that group is posting, then it's not for you. Don't just, like, if the title says working moms, don't just immediately be like, this is it. Like, do your research on your social media communities as well. So yeah, I think community service. My last one, this is my favorite. Be kind. I know it doesn't sound like a good tip, but I do believe that people are naturally more attracted to those who are kind to them, and they're also more willing to support those who are kind to them. Kindness goes a long way, and I think kindness gets lost, especially when it comes to business. People think that they have to be when it comes to business, but changing that is not only beneficial to yourself, but to the business world in general, I think.
Those are some awesome suggestions when it comes to building a support system. I think that, sometimes when people tell me things like, I don't have anybody to support me, it's not that they don't have anyone to support them. It's just that the way that we're taught to extend ourselves to people is not necessarily one of stepping outside of our comfort zone. Like, from kindergarten, you're taught stranger danger, like terms like stranger danger. Don't talk to strangers, don't talk to that person and this person. Or as you get older and you experience rejection from people, you might not want to talk to someone because of your fear of rejection. Well, if I talk to this person, what if they turn me down? Or what if they say something I don't like? Well, there's other billions of people in this world that are not going to turn you down. So we don't always look at it that way. So I think that utilizing some of the strategies that you just mentioned are key. And I love your example about the Facebook groups. There was a Facebook group that someone had suggested to me to join, and looking at the title, it was one that I was like, oh, this would be awesome. This would be an awesome community to interact with. And when I got into the community, I was like, this is really low vibe. And I'm not feeling inspired. As a matter of fact, I'm finding myself reading a lot of the conversations feeling down in the dumps because it was a lot of it was meant to be a community where you can vent, But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the content in there, the way it was written and presented was more of like, man, I just feel really down
Yeah.
reading it,
Yeah.
and so I got out of that group
Yeah,
because I was
exactly.
finding myself like like looking over a lot of comments and posts because I was like, oh, that's such a low vibe post. Let me go past that. Let
Mm-hmm.
me go past that one. Let me go past that one. Well, after you've gone past like 6 of them in a row
What's
for
the
six
point,
days,
right?
for 6 days in a row, why am I in this group?
Yeah. I
So
think a lot of people also forget to be vocal about what they need and what they want. I know I had a big problem with that. Like if I had an idea, I would keep it to myself for so
yeah,
long that it would never go anywhere.
yeah.
And it transformed to, well, I was wondering if you had some time to help me, to now it's like, I need this. Can you help me with this? How much is
Yeah,
it? What do you need from me? And I
yeah.
think uh, conditioning ourselves to be more vocal about what we want and need is helpful as well.
Yes, but the nature of my job is kind of like I look at networking as second nature now.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was in kindergarten, for you to say that I would be speaking to people and not having a problem with speaking to people, I
Yeah.
would probably look at you like I was crazy because I
Yeah.
remember a time when we were all sitting in class, we were going to make some banana pudding. And I was too shy to walk in front of my classmates to just go over and get the ingredients, the same ingredients that everybody else was getting. But
Yeah.
that meant I had to walk in front of the class to go and
Yeah.
get it. And it was so amazing because the teacher never forced me to do it. And that day I didn't make banana pudding, but while everybody else in the class was making their banana
Oh,
pudding. But I mean, it's so funny how, I mean, here I am 40
yeah.
years later, and I'm like, to walk in front of people or to talk to people is like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't, it's not a big deal at all. So it's amazing
Yeah.
how the more that you put yourself out there and the more that you develop your network and your support system, the easier it becomes also.
Yeah, I feel that same way about babysitting. Like, you can ask any of my family, like growing up, I have like, I never want to have kids. I can't stand kids. Babysitting has literally changed my life. Like, it's to the point where now I'm like, I'm the picture of an Atlanta Facebook babysitting group.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, like I'm one of their top sitters. Like, I constantly have good ratings. Like, even interacting with children has helped me tremendously. It softened me a bit, which I
Yeah.
didn't expect to gain from it. And it's like taking opportunities, honestly, taking the ones that seem like the least like you
Yeah.
typically is what tends to help you and give you the most perspective, I think.
Yes, that is so true.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how our self-care and the way that we treat ourselves goes hand in hand with us being able to develop a stronger support system and also live out our core life purpose and extend our gifts to others. Because we all know that when we're not feeling good, we're
Hmm.
sick, we have a headache, whatever it is, if it's consistent, we're not naturally putting our best steps forward and whatever our goals are. We're
Yeah.
tired. So who wants to do a
Yeah.
lot of extra after working a 40-hour week job or
Mhm.
whatever else you do in your day and in your week? Who wants to extend a lot of energy into actually putting their gifts out in there into the world and creating something for themselves and actually realizing our dreams? So just talk a
Yeah.
little bit about maybe some self-care strategies that you've used or some just suggestions for people that are looking to give themselves and feed their spirits more often.
Yeah, so I think a lot of times when we think of self-care, we typically think of like the physical, and the physical is extremely important and the main reason I think it's important is I think it gives us discipline. So setting up a consistent, like, self-care routine, whether that's taking a bath every night or having a skincare routine or reading a certain amount of pages before bed every night. If you do it every day, even though they're small, very minimal in the amount of effort you have to put in, it creates this level of discipline that you need in order to tackle bigger things. So, like for me, once I started implementing a skincare routine and reading a book, that then transformed into going to the gym. And then going to the gym transformed into, all right, well, let me sit down and write this business proposal for this idea that I've been thinking about. It's like little steps like that. And discipline is one of the things that I think people lack the most, but we think that we have it because we do the things that we have to do.
Right.
But discipline is, to me, is only shown with the things that you don't have to do, the things that you want to do, the things you would like to do. Like, that's where discipline is shown. And then another thing, which I don't think a lot of people think of in terms of the physical self-care, is investing in the types of products that they use. So I know what helped me for my skincare routine was I started buying skincare products from Black-owned businesses. And buying from that Black-owned business and knowing that they had my skin type in mind just made me more excited to use the products and be faithful to this routine. Because it's like I invested my money into my community, into this company, and now it's time to do it into myself. Like, I'm not just going to like buy this product and not use it, you know?
Right.
And so actually caring about your self-care routine rather than just it being something that you do, I think is really important. And then when it comes to mental, I think people sometimes it falls, either people are just go, and they don't give themselves time to mentally recharge, or they're not doing enough. And so they're blocking themselves mentally from doing what they need to do. And I know I feel like some of this advice is really simple, but reading unlocks this crazy creative thing in your brain. And and I believe it releases endorphins. Like, even like, say you set out to read 10 pages that day, just the simple fact that you got through 10 pages of that book is motivating. It's really taking the little things and building off of it. A lot of people, when they're in a rut, they try to go from 0 to 100, go from I'm feeling terrible to today is the best day ever. That's not realistic. And being realistic with your personal journey is important as well. Like, don't BS yourself. Like, if you think this would take a while, tell yourself this will take a while. But then gain the patience you need for yourself. I mean, you just cannot take care of anyone else until you take care of yourself first. And that's
Yes, you are so right. And I love that you mentioned about patience, because I think a lot of what we do in life really requires patience if you want it to really turn out the way that you envision it to be. We can rush through any process and just get it done just for the sake of getting it done. But is it really like how you wanted it to be once you get it done? You know, sometimes certain projects are taking too long and you're like, oh my God, when is this going to be over? And you just look at the meticulous energy that you put into certain things and you're like, okay, now this looks and feels exactly how I want it to look and feel.
Exactly.
You know, we have to use wisdom with that too. You don't want to use excuses and procrastination. So it's really like, what are you actually doing with your time also is what you need to be looking at as well. You can't just say, oh yeah, this should take a long time. And you use that as a way of making excuses for take 5 years.
Exactly.
And you barely, moved.
Exactly.
During the process.
Exactly. That's very true.
It's not a cop out either.
Yeah, that's very true.
Thank you so much, Taylor. I appreciate you and everything that you said today. It really resonated with me, and I'm so appreciative of everybody that can, talk honestly about their experiences also, and just, be open to, and welcoming to other positive and like-minded people as well. And you sound like someone that's definitely social, and you offered some really, really good tips on how to build a support system. Can you just real quickly talk a little bit to people that are listening to us and they're saying, yeah, that sounds great, but you don't know my situation and I'm just stuck. I don't know where to turn right now. I really don't have a support system, even though you gave some awesome tips. Can you just talk to those people that just need a little bit of encouragement just to make the next step forward?
Yeah, I think again, I'm going to reiterate, being kind to yourself is my favorite thing to do. Just knowing, and honestly, appreciating what you have in the moment and seeing what you have in the moment and using it to the best capability. And I know that that's like, okay, how does that help again? But say you are a very social person. You like to talk to people. There are jobs, there are opportunities, there are things for social people. You can,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can start a YouTube channel. And funny enough, I actually love YouTube. YouTube pretty much gained its popularity because it was a site for those who didn't feel like they had support systems, for those who felt like they didn't have anyone to talk to. Even if you don't post it on YouTube, something like recording yourself in talking about your feelings. I know that's weird, but the point is to make you uncomfortable. And the
Right.
more you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, I think will help you in various situations. And also uh, staying staying in touch with what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Taking, and this is simple again, but taking 10 minutes out of your day on whatever day you choose and texting or emailing or calling all of your family relatives, or all the people you care about. Um,
Yeah.
those little things are little things, free things that you can do to get yourself going. And I did this the other day. I reached out to my cousin who I hadn't spoken to in a long time. And I was just telling her, like, congratulations on the new baby. I hope you're doing well. And she actually reached out to me and talked about a business opportunity to work with me. And yeah, it's like, that was free. That's my family. It's like, just reach out. If you just talk to people, everybody in this world needs something. Everybody is going through something, and find out what this world needs and how you yourself can give back to it. And giving back is a very strong motivating force within us, I think.
Yes, thank you so much for mentioning that, because sometimes it is all about self and we forget to give back. And sometimes just opening up our mouths and continuing to keep the people that are in our circle. Sometimes we're so focused on who do we look for, find someone brand new, when
Mm-hmm.
the people in your circle already still need nurturing.
Yeah.
So, keeping those relationships going, I think is key as well.
Mhm.
Thank you so
No
much.
problem.
I love everything that you shared. If any of you that are listening feel like this maybe didn't resonate with you, but it could resonate with someone else, feel free to share this content out, because you just never know who you're going to inspire. And as she said, everybody's going through something. Some people's something is bigger than others, but everybody is going through something. And I believe that a lot of what Taylor spoke today, it's something that can really touch a lot of people's hearts. So share this content out with whomever you believe that it can benefit. And if any of you feel like you want to share your story, share your successes, share your challenge areas, reach out to me. And I would love to be able to have you interviewed and communicate with other ladies all around the world. I feel that no matter where I travel, I feel that we all have the same needs. We all
Yes.
want love and we all want connection.
Yes.
So feel free to connect with me, and I would love for you to share your story with other ladies as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that's listening, if you want a strong support system, remember at the beginning of this interview, I mentioned that you could earn a complimentary gift for listening to what Taylor wanted to share with us today. So you'll see my Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group link in the description box. If you're not on Facebook and you want to connect with me via email, that's in the description box as well. Connect with me and I'll give you some resources, some free resources on how to look at what your gifts are and your experience, and how to tailor it so that you know how to put those out into the world where you're actually fulfilled and it feels meaningful to you. A lot of times we fall into this rut of we're doing a job that feels like something that we can do, but
Mm-hmm.
is it fulfilling to us? Totally different things. So I'll give you a personality assessment and some tools that are going to be able to help you put your gifts out there into the world and actually enhance your core life purpose.
That sounds awesome.
Yes, thank you so much for everything that you put out there today for us, Taylor. Are there any last words of encouragement or any particular type of woman or man even that may be listening that you would want to connect with?
Yeah, so actually, what I wanted to share, I know I mentioned about the self care and the products and caring about the products that you use. And I just wanted to share a few brands that I think women of color would really appreciate and can add to their
Yeah,
self care routine. Some of those, one of the companies is Urban RX. It's a very nice face wash. And it's sold at Target, and they call themselves the melanin experts. My skin
awesome.
has never looked better. And then there's another company
And
called
you guys,
Black.
I will put these
Yeah.
products that she's mentioning in the description box. So don't go off running for a pencil or a pen.
Yeah.
I'll include it in the description box to make it easy for you guys.
Yeah. And then the other company is Black and Green. They're a all natural, all black artisanal shop. And so they
Okay.
sell this specific product called Black Girl Sunscreen. So it's made to not leave the white cast on our face. It's lightweight and it
Oh,
literally leaves our skin dewy. And so I know that's not doesn't seem big, but using those products has made me enjoy my skincare routine and my self-care routine 1,000 times more. So that's all I wanted to share.
thank you for sharing that. And I
No
will
problem.
be right there at Target looking for them.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. I enjoyed this very much, and I appreciate you having me.
Yes, thank you so much. Any of you that would love to subscribe and share this content out, I would be so appreciative. And just always remember, no matter where you are in the world listening to us, always remember to live a life full of meaning and purpose. I'll
Mhm.
communicate with you guys in our next episode. I'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty.